No cap, no exaggeration. Last year was the worst year of my life. Like, genuinely the most difficult, most devastating, most stressful year of my life. And I think a lot of people feel that way.
Welcome to Shortcuts to Mastery. I'm your host, Maria Henning, and in my universe, life is for growth and time is for bending. So hop in, my friend, buckle up, and let's get into it.
Hello, my friend. Welcome back to another episode of Shortcuts to Mastery, the first episode of 2025. And wow, do we have so much to catch up on. And at the same time, this is going to be just a shorty little update podcast. And let's just dive right in. So I have not been online for the better part of, 8 months or something like that. The last time you saw me, I shared all about my experience with burnout over the last year. And I thought I was ready to sort of get back into things. And there was actually still a whole other experience for me to go through after that burnout time. I was feeling really good. And then I was feeling actually the worst that I felt last year after that sort of burnout update. And so while there is so much to catch up on, I feel kind of shy to get back into sharing really transparently online. And so we're just going to slowly ease ourselves into it. And I'll just give you a little bit of an update of what's going on, where I've been, etc. We can chat, sort of think about some plans for the year and some contemplations I've been having around things. First of all, I fully deleted social media, at least for the last month. And I come back and TikTok's getting banned. The Zuck sent the Meta platforms to shit. And there was a ceasefire in Palestine. So one of those things is great. The other two, I don't even know. Very just funny to get back into social media, to see that social media has transformed in that time. What a weird time to sort of delete apps and then come back. So either way, I was planning on spending a lot more time on YouTube this year anyway, so I love that those two things aligned. Actually, last year was supposed to be my YouTube year, and then just got sucker punched, by the universe, as it does, as it happens. And so, yeah, just really interesting to come back from that social media break to such big changes. And specifically for me, what I experienced with the deletion of social media was just how interesting it is to go back. I can sense the tendency to want to scroll again, and at the same time the sort of detachment of it, and not really needing to scroll and not needing to get back into that habit. I read a lot. I just finished Crescent City 3, which I was supposed to read last year when it came out, but I've been reading a lot of books instead and sort of doing other things. So it's been nice to not be in a scroll hole, if that makes sense. But yeah, I deleted social media, came back to a bunch of changes, and at least for me, I feel like this time off, there was for the vast majority of it, for the 99% of this time off of social media, which for me feels like all of 2024, to be honest. I mean, I know that I was posting consistently for some time, but honestly, for the majority of it, I wasn't feeling super good. And then really, especially when I wasn't posting, it just felt like I had really no idea what to post or how to get back into that game. And if you're an online business owner, you know that the marketing of your business is the lifeblood of your business. For me, truly, I believe that the marketing and the content creation is number one, just straight up one of the most important parts of the business. We have the marketing of the products and then the delivery of the products. So it's you have to be doing the marketing. But the second part for me from the marketing and content creation that I super appreciate is the development of my thought leadership, the development of what I think and how I think about things and what I want to say in my message and what I'm here to teach. It helps me to craft, to hone my craft, essentially, you could say, to be marketing my products and to be talking about my products and also to talk about my ideas and talk about what I think. And so just not having had that for the last year has been really difficult. And that was my experience after the burnout sort of update, is like I was saying, for the vast majority of last year, I felt really confused about what do I post and how do I talk about things? Just maybe getting too perfectionistic, maybe getting too much into strategy, also being very overwhelmed with everything that I dealt with last year. If you were one of my students in sort of my closer inner circles and you've sort of heard some updates of what's been going on, I still feel kind of shy and vulnerable to share about these very difficult things that I experienced last year. And so we'll see if they come up organically. I think that there's a lot of like value in those experiences, but I just want to get, like I said, slowly ease my way back into things. And anyway, what was I saying? I was talking about how, developing thought leadership, etc. Right. So like the challenge for me after that burnout time is I sort of had that little moment of like, oh, I know what to post now. But then like trying to continue that, like there was not enough, I don't know, creativity or flow or anything related to like thought leadership. And that led me to what I believe is like a state of depression, essentially. I'm using that word from the perspective of the gene keys. So if we think about, first of all, before we talk about gene key 1, which is what I was going to talk about, let me just like point out the elephant in the room. I moved to Bali. I live in Bali now. I just got here like 2 weeks ago. What day is today? Today is January 17th. I got here on the 6th because my birthday was January 7th and I wanted to be here on my birthday. And we'll talk about Bali, I guess, at some point in this podcast. I didn't realize I would go straight into talking about content creation and social media, but I live in Bali. I'm in Canggu, Peranan, Sese area, and that's what this beautiful background is that you see here. And yeah, I've been here for like 10 days and it's awesome. So anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. But my experience, I was talking about content because here I am creating content. My experience of like not being in a creative state, like again, let's contemplate gene key 1 for a second. So gene key 1, it's the gate of creativity. It's I don't even remember the gene key name right now. Actually, let's go take a look at it. From entropy to syntropy is the gene key name. It's the gate of self-expression. It's right in the center of the G center. It goes up in the individual channel towards gate 8. I have this gate. That's the only gate that I have in my G center. It is a 1.1. It's the only line 1 that I have, and it's in my unconscious Mercury. So it's like my unconscious message, and I feel like it's a very sort of positive feedback loop for me to share creativity through my voice, which is my Mercury, right? Your message, like what you're here to share. And it begets more creativity. It begets more, development of, again, I don't know another way of putting it, but my thought leadership, my life's work, my message, all the things I'm here to share. And so if we look at it from the gene keys perspective, the gift is freshness, to be on the cutting edge of something, creating something fresh all of the time, to really bring out the pure genius that is just creating something from nothing. And when we're in the shadow state is entropy, and entropy is, from order to chaos. You create something and then it just gets destroyed and only contributes to chaos in the world. It's this feeling that, what is the point of creating when it's all just going to be destroyed anyway? I don't even know how to talk about the visual I have in my head right now, so we'll just save that for when I have better words again. But my experience was, because I spent so long not being able to create, partly because of dealing with these massive, like catastrophic situations that I had to deal with last year, and the other part being just like maybe perfectionism and just getting into a bad habit of not showing up and etc. But again, that's like 20% of it. 80% of it was like survival mode, using my reserve energy stores to show up to the task and like deal with the problems at hand, which were many and did not stop coming. I had not ever been in a place where I didn't create like that in my business. Like my whole business, I've created so much and created so consistently, and it's felt so good. And I'm talking not just content, but also courses, like my products. Like I was not able to sort of keep up with all of the things that I wanted to create, and it put me and it led me to like a depressed state that I haven't experienced in a long time. And again, I just feel shy to sort of like share about it. And I'm here now and I feel the muscle memory of being in like teacher voice and like, performance mode and all of that. But like, and I feel so good now being here in Bali, which is a dream I've had for a very long time. So today I'm in a great mood. And so I feel kind of distant from the dark hole that I was just in like a few weeks ago, and was in that dark hole for a lot, like basically a year. And so it's weird to sort of talk about it now, and I can tell that there's a part of me sort of protecting me from sharing about it, because it really was not a good time. And if you're one of the students in some of those closer programs that got to hear a really raw update of what's been happening, you saw me cry about it, which is not something I've literally ever done on the internet. And give you some more gory details about everything that happened. And that was really validating, hearing from everyone, like, well, of course I would have been burnt out too. And like, you need to be more gracious to yourself. That was really healing. So if you're one of those students, thank you. I appreciate you. But yeah, I'm here now, and I'm so conscious of like how much I want to get back into my creativity and into sharing and into speaking, which is my purpose in the Gene Keys, voice, right? That's a line 5 in the unconscious earth. If you're curious, if you're 2-5 or 3-5, you would have this purpose as well. And like, I want to do that so badly. And yet at the same time, I've been so out of the practice for so long that it feels like I'm having to relearn how to do it. The good thing about being out of the practice for so long and having to relearn is I can relearn some new and better habits. So what I was getting at way before is, for the majority of this time, I have felt like I have no idea what to do and how to get back into this content creation game. And there's been like glimmers of clarity, and then it's just fucking nonsense and just like, I don't even know what's going on, and overwhelm for like a lot of it. And then recently, like, just felt like, I think being here, just like so much clarity and like simplicity on, you know, what are the things I want to talk about, and like, who do I want to talk to, and like, how do I want to do it, just like strategically, like what kind of content in terms of like, is it video, is it this, where is it going to get repurposed to, etc. And that has given me so much peace and I'm so excited. And the other thing that I am practicing is, who gives a fuck if it's perfect or not? It doesn't need to be this long ass thing that you need to provide so much value, and it has to be so edited. Remember when I did my last video podcast? This is on video, by the way. And it was so crazy edited, and it took me like a month to do. Yeah, we're not doing that anymore. That was ridiculous. It was a lot of fun, but it was like, whoa, that's not sustainable. So this will not be super edited, really, if any at all. There might be some cuts because there's construction going on, classic Bali, or maybe I'm saying a million times, so I might cut a few of those out. But the intention with the podcast is to be a lot more freeform, especially on video. We're not going to be tossing in sound effects and pictures and like all that crazy shit that I was doing. So that was a lot of fun, but not meant for podcast. So anyway, I'm excited for the clarity, and I'm excited to, I don't even think I finished what I was saying, to practice the not perfection of it, to just like show up to it. And I guess that was the point of that whole previous rant that I did, but like the distillation of what I was trying to say is like, better done than perfect, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter that this is going to be maybe a shorter podcast, or that there's a part of me saying like, you need to give all of the story so that everyone knows. It's like, no, I don't feel ready for that. It feels really vulnerable. It feels really tender. I'm in a tender place. I just moved internationally. I'm still dealing with the fallout of all of the bullshit that happened last year, and working on integrating those lessons. I'm still dealing with like taking care of my students and all these things that I have to do. And it's like, it's not the right time yet to talk about it. So I don't need to. This is me like parenting myself or coaching myself, however you want to talk about it. But it's like, I don't need to. I can come on and share an update with my community, with you guys that are so amazing and like still have supported me during this like really weird year. And I think, by the way, a lot of us had a weird 2024, a very difficult 2024. Like, no cap, no exaggeration, last year was the worst year of my life. Like, genuinely the most difficult, most devastating, most stressful year of my life. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And so I don't need to share about it. Okay, I will at some point, some things, but I don't need to share anything about that right now. So that's, you know, an update in terms of like sort of where have I been. I genuinely took actually an off break. I started therapy, which has been so great. I genuinely manifested like my dream therapist. This person is not only a licensed therapist, which was very important, But she also does the kind of therapy that I was looking for, which is IFS, or internal family systems therapy, also known as parts work. So looking at yourself as parts. So like, well, part of me wants to move to Bali, but a part of me feels homesick, instead of, it's a way, at least for me, to deal with the not even polarity, because it's not just two parts of you, but just like the cacophony of different thoughts and feelings within you, which I really appreciate. Number 3, Homegirls is a very talented astrologer, so really excited to have like astrology language. And so far we've done like 6 or 7 sessions so far, and it's been like really helpful to have that language. The first one was a really amazing astrology reading that like I got so much out of that reading. And she also does other types of therapy that are super interesting. So started some therapy. That's been great. Highly recommend. I like parts work because it's not just conscious talk therapy. You're being guided into within. Your eyes are closed. You're exploring your system, and sometimes you're letting the parts talk through you, which is really interesting and at times kind of creepy. So anyway, if you have any thoughts on parts work or therapy or whatever, feel free to comment them below. I'm curious if you guys have tried therapy, or if you even knew that there would be therapists that also are astrologers. And if you're an astrologer therapist or a human design or gene keys therapist, please let us know. I think a lot of people would be interested in that kind of resource. So feel free to just let us know in the comments of this YouTube video, or on Spotify. I think on the podcast you can comment. So feel free to comment that this is what you do. I'd love to hear it and check your workout. But yeah, so I took that social media break off. I started therapy. What else have I been doing, bro? Just fucking picking my life back up, like picking up the pieces, I think is the expression. I'm horrendous at expressions, but that's the one I was trying to use. I think it just feels like everything really just got shattered, and I'm in a rebuild phase. I was at breakfast with a friend here, and she was sharing some challenging things that she is going through, and was sort of asking me, what about me and whatever. And I was like, I'm in a rebuild phase. And to be transparent, here's all the shit that happened to me last year. And this is the fallout that I'm dealing with now. And she really appreciated the transparency, but like really the best way I could put it is I'm in a rebuild phase. And again, that's exciting because I can make newer and better choices now, about how I want to, the whole content and creation side of my business, which is so important. How do I want to approach that in a way that like nurtures my creativity and does not exploit my life force? And how do I want to approach the business side of things now that I have all of this knowledge, given all the shit that happened to me last year, again, in a way that nurtures my life's work, nurtures my message, nurtures my thought leadership, and again, does not exploit my life force? And how do I want to bring those things together in a way that is really streamlined and really efficient? And what do I know that I need to do? And especially last year, I got so much, I got to see a different side of life that is not just fucking working 24/7. I think I talked about this in the last podcast. Don't ask me what I talked about in the last podcast. That was like 4 months ago. I have no idea what I said. But like, I was coming off of my time in Germany, and I remember being there and sort of seeing like, just like people in the beer gardens, friends drinking a beer and just having a sausage and like bathing in the river. And like, it was like, wow, life is not just work. And specifically the really important like download for me, I guess, was like, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs have had. I know I'm not alone in this, but it's this experience of like, we've been working really hard for years and we've created success. And then we get to a place where we're like, why are we working this hard? Like, am I working this hard and creating such a difficult business to sustain that like, I'm just going to keep living to work, Like who gives a fuck how much money I'm making if I can't enjoy it? And if I'm like, dealing with, I don't even know, if I just don't have time to do the things I want to be doing, if I'm not, using my creativity, if I'm not moving my body, if I'm not enjoying, in this case, Bali, it's like, what am I doing working this hard? Like, if I just want to, am I just optimizing for make as much money as possible? Or am I optimizing my life for, health and friendships and love and, moving my body and appreciating this country that I moved to, that I've been trying to move to for like 6 fucking years? Or am I going to be in my little home office here in Bali all day working 24/7? The answer is no, I don't want that second piece. So, thinking about just life beyond business. Sounds so dumb, but like really it was important to have that perspective. So anyways, I'll end with this, another sort of big realization from last year. Realization, not realization. Here was an ego bludgeoning that I experienced last year. Because of the burnout, and then later because of the depression, and because of all of the fucking survival that I was in, I wasn't able to work, right? We talked about this, and it was incredibly difficult to even really do anything. It was very difficult to do things, that was a huge like ego death for me, because if there's anything that I can do, it's work. If there's anything that I, as a 6-planet motherfucking Capricorn stellium and manifesting generator, single definition with 3 motor centers defined, if there's anything I can fucking do, it's work, and it was so, and like keep my life together. And it was so weird to not be able to do it. It was like devastating. It was, and I think I didn't talk about this in the last podcast, but I talked about it with my students. I think the reason that hit me so heavy was the whole Pluto shifting into Aquarius. It was the end of Pluto in Capricorn. And now that Pluto's in Aquarius, I will have had Pluto through every fucking thing I even have in my chart, basically, at least the big 3, but like pretty much every placement. I have 4 placements in Scorpio, 6 in Capricorn, and 2 in Aquarius. There's not much left there. North Node's in Sag. We had Pluto through Sag in my lifetime, so there's only like a few other like of the bigger, South Node and Chiron. Those are placements that Pluto might never go through in my lifetime. But anyway, the ending of Pluto in Capricorn signaled the sort of ending of this like hyper capitalist mindset, and putting your self-worth into your productivity and into how much money you make, and etc. And it was a massive fucking ego death for me. And now Pluto's in Aquarius, which is my rising sign, so many more ego deaths to come as it traverses through my first house. But that was one of the joys of last year. I studied a lot of astrology in the time that I could and do stuff, and it gave me a lot of peace and clarity around the things that were happening to me, and I really appreciated that, like having the understanding of transits. And actually I remember the first day of my either the consultation, I think it was my therapy consultation with this dream therapist. She was like, how are you feeling? I was like, I don't know if it's because Pluto left Capricorn today, or because like, I don't even know. I'm just happy to be having this call with you and feeling like there's hope, but I'm just like feeling so much better. But truly, like that last couple of degrees, or that last degree, that 29th degree of Pluto in Capricorn was like fucking brutal, honestly. So yeah, let me know if you also experienced that. I want to know what the ending of Pluto in Capricorn was for you. And speaking of Pluto in Aquarius, this is something I wanted to talk about maybe in a separate, like I wanted to spend more time on it, but we'll talk about it now too, and then just like see what comes up. But having Pluto be in Aquarius this year, especially for New Year's, I think is really interesting, and is an answer to a contemplation that I've been having with some friends, which is that we feel so like kind of existential around like New Year's goals and resolutions. And I love to think about like the astrological New Year when Aries season comes around. But as a Capricorn, and as someone that loves the fact that my birthday is at the very beginning of the year, and like January 7th, my birthday, that's when 54 is in the sun, because that's my sun, and 53 is in the earth. 53 is the gate of new beginnings. So at the very beginning of the year, we have the earth traversing through the gate of beginnings, like new beginnings, like there's something new happening. And so, normally that's a time when we're all like, oh, what's possible for this year? Like, what's the new beginning? And then we have the ambition of 54 right at the sun. So we're like, what are our new ambitions? What are our new goals? Right before that is 38, if from my memory. No, yeah, it is 38. I don't know why I'm doubting myself. It's 38 during New Year's, like the actual 31st to 1st, 38 is in the sun. And that's like what's worth fighting for. So we're feeling this like, and both of these gates are in the root center. A lot of Capricorn gates are in the root center. there's this like root pressure. There's this drive that's being lit up by the sound of like, what do we want this year? Like, what are we fighting for this year? And it's supported by like new beginnings and like dynamic energy in 39, which is the pairing partner to 38. And so normally we have that energy going into a year of like, let's like create these new goals and da 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 da. And, you know, for the last 15 years or 16 years or whatever that Pluto's been in Capricorn, bitch, that's a long time. Okay, it's a long. As a Capricorn, I can tell you that shit was that was 16 years. I felt that that was a long fucking time. But anyway, now that Pluto's been in Aquarius for this new year, it's like we're like, what is the point of it? Going back to that, what I was saying is like, what was the point of working this hard? Just to keep working this hard? Like, what is beyond that? And so I think, I don't know if you've been feeling existential too, but I think a lot of us have been feeling existential in the sense of like, what is it all for? Like, what do we even want? What are we even working for? What are we even fighting for? Like, there's got to be something higher. Because that's Aquarius, right? Aquarius is the community. It's, you know, it's the humanitarianism. It's thinking about the collective. It's like hopes and dreams and wishes. Like, what do we want? What are we fighting for? We're in the Pluto and Aquarius, you know, 20 years cycle, and the last time Pluto's in Aquarius, there were all these revolutions and class consciousness and all of that. And if you want to hear more about that, go listen to Aisha, oath.oracle. That's my astrology teacher, and she is an Aquarius, very much leading the charge at the age of Aquarius, and is the astrologer that I've been learning from all year. And so I feel that sort of like, yeah, why am I here in Bali? What was the point again? That like I reached my goal, my ambition, I'm here, but like, what's the point? Like, you know, and that I'm not feeling existential dread around it anymore. At least there was a couple of days where I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? But I think that's to be expected with any international move. But yeah, all that to say, I personally am excited to have a bit of a higher vision in the work that I'm doing. You know, when I started this business, I was 25 and I, you know, just really wanted to finally have that lifestyle that I was really craving of like creating online and being able to have that time and location freedom and like work from anywhere and etc. And now I'm here and it's like, okay, well, what's the higher vision? What's the purpose of this? And I definitely feel a strong purpose around sharing the gene keys, which feels exciting. And I have ways that I've been able to word it before. I'm not going to make any of those claims right now because we're just easing back into things like I was saying. But like, I'm excited to bring in more purpose into my work. And I'm also curious to share it with you guys, how to bring more purpose into work if it's something that you're curious about. So again, feel free to comment in YouTube below or comment in Spotify or send me a DM at by Maria Henning if you're feeling this. But yeah, it's been an interesting, you know, first couple weeks of the year, having a birthday as usual, but also settling into an international move and settling into Bali. And, you know, normally when I've been here in the past, I've spent a lot of time here over the past 2 years. I've always been in Ubud. And so it's been, even though it's familiar because it's Bali, it's also a new place. So there is some adjusting to do of like, wait, where do I get my laundry done again? And like, where do I do this? Just new stuff that I need to take care of that takes a lot of fucking time and energy. Like, where do I get groceries? Like, how does this work? Moving is no joke. I'm glad that I spent so much time here over the past 2 years because it made a lot of the initial legwork easy. I'm also really grateful for Katie, who you guys might know. Katie over at Sort of Spiritual is one of my closest friends, and she has lived here for much longer than I and has all of the tips for me. It has introduced me some great people here that have also really supported me in like getting settled. So the community aspect has been so helpful. Because otherwise moving is really, really difficult. So anyway, let me check my notes to see if there's anything else I wanted to say. Of course, my notes went away. Yeah, no, that's everything. That actually is everything. So nothing else to give you an update now. But it's like hard to even inform because like I was going to say like, and I'm going to be doing this and this and this year. But like last year, I broke my own trust a lot. You know, I informed a lot of things that I was going to do. I informed students of things that were going to happen, or, you know, telling you guys like this content's coming or this is coming or whatever. And it's like, because all these things happened, I wasn't able to fulfill those promises. And so I don't I broke a lot of trust with myself because of external situations and also internal things. I don't really know what. I've been working it out in parts therapy, but there's a part of me that deeply wants to inform. That's my strategy as an MG, and I feel it. I feel it strongly. But I'm just gonna move in silence, lol. But just like not inform right now for a second and just let myself ease back into this. And really the reason I'm sharing that again is if you're feeling a similar vibe and you're returning to something that you were doing before and sort of in the relearning process, and especially if it's similar like this, if it's social media or content creation, it's like, don't make any promises. Just let yourself come back. Let it be easy. This today felt like the easiest thing to do. Just set up my phone, film a podcast update, pop it on YouTube, pop it on Spotify, iTunes, whatever, Apple Podcasts, and just give you the raw sort of what's been good, but also without making it super difficult for me to share all of the stuff that feels really tender, So, we're getting back into it with ease and grace, and yeah, I'm excited to be back. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you've been up to. How has your year been? Have you been feeling some of the things that I've been saying? And without any further ado, I will see you in the next Shortcuts to Mastery episode, and maybe in some other places if they come to pass. Okay. Love you so much. Have a beautiful day.
All right, my friend. Thanks for joining me on another ride aboard the Shortcuts to Mastery spaceship. You can get started on your human design and Gene Keys journey with me today for free by going to mariahenning.com/chart, which is linked below. If you're a visuals lover as well as an audiophile, then definitely join the party over on Instagram at @ByMariaHenning for lots of fun and beautiful educational content. And to tag me in the stories with the episodes you listen to so I can repost you. And of course, if you're here, it totally rocks for podcasts to receive great ratings. So if you're feeling warm and fuzzy and want to share, I'd be eternally grateful. I can't wait to connect again. Thanks for being here. And until next time, here's to everything going easier, better, and faster than expected.